Good morning, beloveds. Hopefully we will not have the internet connection issues that we had yesterday, which caused me to quit early. But, quitting early is not a bad thing. There's no time limit on this thing. It can take as long as it takes. So, we're 2/3 of the way through. So, okay. We are Science Mind Text in part 5 from the teaching of Jesus. And we are going to start on 456 with As Little Children from Matthew 18:3. We must become as little children. How we long for a return of that simple trust in life which children have. In their minds, there are no doubts. They have not yet been told that they are sinners, destitute of divine guidance and spiritual life. The life of the child is lived in natural goodness. God is natural goodness. The prison walls of false experience soon build themselves into barriers, shutting out the light, and the child grows into an adult, often losing their sense of that inner guide, leading their footsteps aright. We must return to the way we came. We must return the way we came, as little children who know that life is good and to be trusted. We are to approach our problems as though they were not. Approaching them in this manner, they will vanish. Life is not let not the materialist deny us this right, nor the unbelieving cast any reflection of their blindness before our eyes. There is a wisdom and power not of the flesh, which springs all the time from the inner life and all powerful and all wise. I just couldn't get that word out. I'm sorry. I couldn't get the word out. There's a whole lot of as little children. I think that there are a couple of places. It's either a couple of places that Jesus mentions it, or it's mentioned in several of the Gospels. And it's that reminder to us that when we were children, we believed in magic. And that's one of those things. It's like when we were children, we believed in magic and we saw magic. It's like you have to believe it to see it. And that's what he's talking about in this particular passage. If you want to see good, you got to believe in it. And if you believe in it, you'll see it. And if you don't believe in it, then you won't see it. And that's the problem. So we have to go back to that time before, especially that time before. I don't know if you know, if you haven't looked up Jim Palmer yet, he's very interesting. He was an evangelical, I can't talk today, evangelical Christian minister. And then one day he looked out at the audience and went, I can't do this anymore, and walked away. Like he was apparently a big time successful one. Now he has since become a big time successful, deconstructionist. But he also talks about that how religion can be toxic because it builds these barriers up, which Ernest is talking about, where it tells us that, religion tells us that we're sinners and that we're separate from God, and that, there are all the people between us and God, and we don't have the right to go directly to the source of our own being. And that's not the truth. It's not the truth. And so if we want to go back, if we want to recapture the magic of childhood, then we have to let all of that go, because it was never true in the first place. It was never true in the first place. And we just have to break those walls down and go directly to the source of our own being and say, all right, show me. As little children, go back to the magic that life was. So, all right. Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth. This is Matthew 18:18. Next, we come to a passage difficult to understand and one which has caused confusion in many minds. Yeah, the internet's being really funny right now. All right. I'm just going to start over because I don't know where it kicked me out. Next, we come to a passage that is difficult to understand, which has caused confusion in many minds. Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Yeah, I don't know what that means either. So let's see what Ernest has to say. A superficial reading of this passage might lead one to suppose that this earth provides the last chance for the salvation of the soul. But this is not the meaning of the text, which implies that the experience of death cannot change all. As a person has lived on earth, so they will continue to live after death. If they have been pure, they will continue to be pure. If they have been otherwise, they will continue to be otherwise. False experience will continue until the lesson is learned, until the soul turns from that which hurts to its greater good. The spirit of people is of like nature to the Spirit of God, and it is impossible for the Spirit of God to remain in darkness. The next life is a logical continuation of this one and could not be otherwise. Okay, so this is one of those situations. I still am not clear. This is one of those situations where I'm going to give you Reverend Norm's advice. Reverend Norm says anytime you have a Bible quote that you don't understand, or just any Bible quote at all, go back and read it in context. Read a few lines before and a few lines after. Read it in context. That will tell you what the author meant. Okay? And that's one where, and I believe this is one that, as we like to say, has been weaponized. It kicks me off again. People use it to mean all kinds of things. Ernest is saying that it has to do with the next life. It's like, okay, well, after you finish this moral go round, whatever you were now, you're going to take that to the next world. Do you want to do that? And that's reasonable to me. Do I know for sure? No. Have I read this in context? No. Am I thinking about looking it up? Yes. Will I? Maybe. Depends on how, deep my desire is to understand it. So, all right, I'm going to try and get through one more of these before, if it kicks me off again, we're gone. I don't know why the internet is so unstable. I've got all of my green lights. I can see them from here. All right. It could be the iPad. I don't know. All right, we're going to do divine forgiveness from Matthew 18, 21, and 22. He really likes the book of Matthew. In the next passage, Jesus clearly explains the meaning of divine forgiveness. He says that we should forgive until 70 times 7. This is but another way of saying that forgiveness is eternal and ever available. That what a load is dropped from the shoulders of personal responsibility when we realize that the eternal mind holds not against anyone. But to those who feel that this is unfair, it will be a hard saying. What, says one, are not my virtues to be rewarded above those who have none? O foolish one and blind, what do you know about virtue? Has your life always been beyond reproach? Have you never fallen short of the divine calling? Who are you to point the finger of scorn at your brother, at your sibling? The person who feels self-righteous, The person who feels self-righteousness rise from their petty virtues lives a life full of self-delusion. Okay, know this. Virtue does not know that it is virtuous, and could it know, it would immediately become vicious. Virtue is sweet as the morning dew, soft as the evening air, or soft as the evening star, brilliant as the noonday sun. Could the dew tell why it is sweet, and the star say why its light is soft, or the sun say why it shines? When we learn to put away our petty virtues with our petty vices, then shall we see clearly, not what either virtue or vice is, but what truth is. The mind which condemns understands not the truth of being, and the heart which would shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most. Not that we foster vice or place a premium on wrongdoing, but that we understand the frailties of human nature and learn to overlook much. To them who loves much, much is forgiven. I think you must have been reading poets for that one. But honestly, I've never thought about it like that. I've never thought about if virtue knew it was virtue, then it would turn vicious. But it makes sense, because most of the virtuous people that I know don't proclaim their virtue. You know, like, I joke patience is a virtue. It's not one of mine, and it's not. I can be very, very, very impatient. With myself, with other people, with just life in general. You know, patience is not something, I work on it, I practice it, you know, it's just not one of my virtues. But if you ask me to list my virtues, I'm not sure that I could. So that's what he's talking about. The virtuous people that you know don't think about their virtues. You know, I hate to use the word modesty, but maybe humility would be a good one. Like all of the people that we know that are very virtuous, they don't talk about it. They just do, you know, they don't talk a lot about it. They just do. And it's that thing about reward. When he said that line about reward, that's exactly it. Are you being virtuous to be rewarded? Then you're not really being virtuous. Like, you're doing something to get something. And that's not the same thing. Virtue just simply is. So if you're doing something to get something, then it's not a virtue. It's not a vice. And he says at the end, look, we don't foster vices either. Because, the vices aren't going to get you anywhere. And you keep doing them, you're going to keep doing them until you wake up. But if you're proclaiming you're virtuous and you're doing it to be, then you're not really virtuous. It just kicked me off again. So this is it. I'm done. I was planning to stop here anyway, because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if I'm being virtuous to be rewarded, I'm not actually being virtuous. Like, I'm pretending. Oh, that's kind of, earth-shattering. So I'm gonna go away and think about that one. I encourage you to think about that one. And it's just one of those things. Like, I know all kinds of wonderful people. And every one of us have feet of clay. You know, we understand the human frailty. And that's one of the reasons why Jesus said, let him, he without sin cast the first stone. You know what? We're human. We make mistakes. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We make mistakes. Not one of us has not fallen short of the goal. And it's okay. And so we want to forgive ourselves and move on. Okay. If you're being virtuous to be rewarded, you are not being virtuous. Dang, that's wow. Okay. All right. Okay. So there it is. All right. So we'll pick up tomorrow on 458 with the section that says a formula for effective prayer. So, okay. And now the housekeeping, I'm going to remind you that one of the easiest ways to support the center is to engage with our social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center and Creative Life Spark. Go like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the stuff. Okay. Hang on. From there, if you want more information about the center, go to the website, creativelife.org, or you can email info@creativelife.org, and that will get you on the constant contact. One email a week unless something unusual happens. It's a real person doing it. He ain't got time for more than that. And the hot links are hot. Okay, now I'm going to remind you, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a virtuous day, a think about it day, a what are we really about day, a practice day, a prayerful day, an affirmative day, a get stuff done day, a dance in the rain but stay out of the lightning day, a drink plenty of water day, a beware of the heat day, a take care of yourself day, a good day, and if that's too much pressure, simply have a day. Simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. Or, as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, beloveds. Take care of yourself. I say that and then I forget. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Now, here's the kicker. Reverend David could be on anywhere from 3 to 7. And I say 9 a.m. and I'm usually on around 9:15. So here we are. All right, beloveds. Point B. We're both here pretty much every day. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.